All right, let's dive into something a bit unusual today. Really unpack this. We're looking at the unboxing and, well, the first reactions to the Boring Company's Not a Flamethrower. We're doing it through the eyes of one particular content creator. What immediately struck me, looking at the source, was just the sheer hype around this thing. It's such a peculiar product, right? And the anticipation was massive.
It really is quite fascinating. So our deep dive today, it centers on this unboxing video. It's called Thanks Elon Musk.mp3 by Furious Pete. And what's interesting right at the start is how Pete opens it. He gets quite personal, actually. He thanks his viewers for their support during a difficult time he was going through. He basically says their encouragement is why he could even make this video. It adds a real personal layer before he even gets to the box.
Yeah, that personal touch, it really grounds the whole thing, doesn't it? And then, bang, he's straight into it, pulls out this box, and he just seems genuinely baffled. He keeps saying, like, I'm still surprised this actually made it through customs. And honestly, can you blame him? He's in Canada, right? Thinking about their gun laws. And he's looking at this thing that, in his words, looks like a full-on gun. He even kind of wonders aloud, is it because it just says, not a flamethrower? You can just feel the irony. Apparently, this was a true unboxing for him. He'd only seen pictures, never a video. And his partner, Mel, she was right there, just as excited.
And Pete's bewilderment about customs, that perfectly highlights the genius, maybe, of calling it not a flamethrower.
Yeah.
That branding is precisely how they navigated the regulations, or tried to. It leverages that ambiguity, for getting it shipped, sure, but also for grabbing massive media attention. Pete clearly sees it as a full flamethrower. Others might say, oh, it's just a glorified torch. So this naming strategy, it's not just clever marketing. It's like a direct challenge to how we classify things. It lets something that looks like a controlled item slip through, well, unexpected channels.
It's like a master class in walking that line.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, about the delivery itself, he ordered this thing 9 months earlier. 9 months. And it finally lands on his doorstep on Christmas Eve. So he called it kind of like a cool Christmas present.
Nice timing.
Right. But here's the kicker, the really unexpected bit. No fuel included. He actually reads this quote, it's amazing, from a letter inside. Dear and not so boring customer.
The lawyers have spoken, and due to shipping restrictions, we can't mail your glorious propane fuel.
Okay.
To make it up to you, we've included some cold hard cash so you can scroll on down to your local store and stock up on some nice C3H.
Wow, just wow. Cash in the box. Yeah. Pete and Mel, their reaction is just priceless. They're like, Is this real? That's amazing. It's legit. So, I mean, how unusual is that? Sending cash to get around shipping rules.
It's genuinely remarkable, isn't it? Most companies, they'd be jumping through endless compliance hoops, forms, permits. But the Boring Company, they essentially just outsource the hazardous material delivery straight to the customer. It turns this logistical nightmare into this weird, almost collaborative part of the whole experience.
Yeah, collaborative is a good word for it.
It's not just a workaround. It's kind of a brilliant, if very unconventional stroke of experiential marketing, where the act of getting the fuel becomes part of the product's whole quirky story.
Never thought of it that way. And it leads right into what Pete calls his propane quest. Mel actually went out with the $10 they sent her, or sent him. And there's this funny bit where Pete does the math. The propane costs $9.99 plus tax. So he playfully calculates, Elon, you owe us $1.12. No, wait, he corrects himself, $1.29.
Keeping track.
Yeah, exactly. He's also really specific about his unit.
Yeah.
Says it's number 255 out of the 20,000 of these were made. And he notes, maybe a bit dramatically, that he's one of the last people ever to get one of these. He also comments on the feel of it. That's kind of good in my hand. Says it brings me back to shooting, like the first time he held something similar. But importantly, he carefully reads the instructions first, especially about adjusting the regulator, turning the knob clockwise till it stops, to prevent accidents.
What's striking there is the contrast. You've got this high-tech, super hyped novelty product, and then this surprisingly low-tech, totally relatable process of, popping down the shop for fuel and reading a manual.
Very mundane.
It kind of grounds the whole extravagant purchase in a very ordinary experience, doesn't it? And the serial number, the production run, 20,000 units, that gives you a glimpse into the scale. 20,000, not a flamethrowers. That's a pretty significant investment in something that's, well, mostly for entertainment.
Yeah, definitely not a small batch. Okay, so then it was time. Time to actually fire it up. They head outdoors. Pete says, okay, let's go outside. He describes the steps. Release the valve, turn it on. He warns, It's going to smell. It's going to hiss. And then Mel clicks the red button, the igniter, multiple times. And their reaction, it's immediate. It's pure joy. You hear him yelling, "Oh my God, that's too much fun. That is too much fun." Woo!
Oh, yeah.
And woo, my God, that is just pure excitement. But then reality bites pretty quickly. The small propane tank runs out super fast. Pete's like, "This bike just died that quick." It's a small tank. It's only, how many? 400?
Yeah.
Like 400 grams maybe?
Probably, yeah. They're small camping ones.
Yeah. And his frustration comes out, but it's funny. Why didn't we buy 2 tanks? I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
He even jokes that
Absolutely.
Elon is like a drug dealer. He gives you like a little bit, just a little sample to start. And he concludes, pretty bluntly, you need like 4 tanks to have a good time.
If we kind of step back and look at that, the immediate, almost visceral appeal is undeniable, right? Pure entertainment value. And that short burn time, maybe it's deliberate, maybe it's just how those small tanks work, but it definitely creates this instant desire for more. Like Pete said, you got to buy more fuel to really have a good time.
Hooks you in.
Exactly. It's a really interesting reflection on how products, even ones with obvious dangers, can be designed mainly for this fleeting, high-impact experience, an experience that's ultimately consumable. It blurs the lines, doesn't it, between a tool, a device, and just pure entertainment delivery.
Consumable entertainment.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So the story doesn't quite end there. The next day, the overly expensive fire extinguisher finally shows up. Pete mentions it had Boring Company printed on it. And actually, there's a funny slip-up where he says it looked like a regular flamethrower.
Yeah.
He obviously meant fire extinguisher.
Oh, that's quite a slip.
Right. Easy mistake to make, I guess, in context. But Pete's final take on the Not a Flamethrower itself is pretty candid. He says, at the end of the day, obviously, it's kind of it doesn't have a purpose, but it's fun. We had a lot of fun today, something that was needed. You feel that. And then, being a content creator, he turns to his audience, asks them to comment, what you guys want me to do with this flamethrower next. I want to cook something up. He also briefly wraps up thanking supporters and mentioning his campaign for TC research and awareness.
It's really fascinating how he just admits it point blank. Doesn't have a purpose, but it's fun. That says so much, I think, about consumer psychology today. In this age where experiences, where unique content are so highly valued, maybe utility isn't always the main reason people want something.
Yeah, seems that way sometimes.
This whole deep dive, it really highlights that powerful allure of just novelty. The appeal of things that exist purely to spark joy, to create these shared fun moments, even if they're fleeting. That very human need for something that was needed just for fun.
So what does this all mean then? I mean, we've gone on quite the journey here, from the mystery box, the customs confusion, that weird catch for fuel thing, and finally, actually firing up the Boring Company's Not a Flamethrower. It's been a wild ride.
It really has. And, the existence of a product like this, one that seems almost proudly impractical, it really pushes us to maybe reevaluate those lines, between innovation, entertainment, maybe even regulation. Is its ultimate purpose just to create that shared surprise, that moment of pure silly fun?
Could be.
Or does its sheer novelty challenge us, make us think about what really drives us as consumers in this modern world, and maybe what other naughty inventions might spark that same kind of joy and probably just as many questions in the future? Makes you wonder.
Definitely food for thought. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the unexpected. We really hope it sparks some aha moments for you listening.